Hello, my dearest confidant. As you can see over my shoulder right here, I'm on baby duty while mom's out foraging. And I wanted to talk about predator control. I saw a post on Facebook and somebody was saying that their chickens were being picked off by hawks and they didn't know what to do. And it got me thinking, like, we have a pretty good setup. And you can say it's predator proof, but nothing is predator proof. It depends on the predator. And I think that the best approach, mom's coming back to check on babies. I think the best approach is one where you consider all of the different types of predators for all of the different types of animals that you have. And she's taking them to get something to eat. And you go from there. So our main predators around here are coyotes, mountain lions, ringtails, raccoons, possums could be a predator, snakes, and things like that. And so when you think about that, you have to think about how those different animals hunt. So if you think about a coyote, well, they would hunt more in a manner like a dog, right? So they're not really going to be jumping and stuff. They're going to be more so focused on digging and getting underneath obstacles. Raccoons like to reach their little arms in and grab things. And so you need to make sure that, whatever gaps you have, either their hands can't fit through or you have a safe place for your animals that's further out of the reach. So maybe a double layer of protection, right? Something that if they reach their arm in, they still can't get inside. They also climb and get into things very readily. They're very smart. And so really you're working on the deterrence model, because if something wants to get in, it's going to get in. Unless you have a steel building with a steel floor and, I'm just saying, like, obviously that's extreme. But so the lady in question on the post was saying that she had an acre that she lets her chickens forage in the daytime. But looking at her field, it's really an open field. So the hawks can see from a mile up or something like that. Like, you have zero protection, overhead protection for your flock. And she's like, I don't know how to get, a netting that could cover the whole thing. Well, you don't need a net that can cover the whole thing. You need some sort of cover though. And so, pallet structure so they can run and hide underneath a place where they can rest if they need to. You need to have some sort of a guard that can look out for aerial threats. And so she was saying that her roosters aren't doing anything. Well, then you need different roosters. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't have a dog that you can trust to guard your livestock all the time, then you need something else. You just got to think outside the box. The top of our coop is pallets and the top is just netting. Well, anything could get in there, right? Anything that can climb. And so we take a multi-level approach to predator control. And something else that I think is taken for granted is you want something that's considered a predator to the predator. And you can go to the store and buy coyote pee, and that'll keep away coyotes and anything that coyotes normally like to eat. But you could do something even more simple and have human pee around the outside. And so my husband pees every few days outside of our areas where we have animals that are at risk. And so far it's kept out most things. I've seen foxes play within feet of my ducks and not bother them because it's not their quote unquote territory. And it's just, we have a lot of overhead tree cover that most people would think is unsightly, and I absolutely believe that it provides another layer of protection. Besides the fact that they're cedar, I've had somebody tell me that cedar are a worthless tree, and I'm like, that is absolutely incorrect. And I've gotten so much benefit from my cedar. They've provided insect control, so there's not as many mosquitoes wherever there's cedar. They're providing shade. Sure, they drink a lot of water, but that's not all they do. They provide places for birds to nest, and we want that wildlife. We want to create that symbiotic relationship here. And the only way to do that is to value what we have, right? So if I tore all of these trees out and I only depended on the oaks, well, then now we're talking about the oak wilt. We have to worry about oak wilt, and that's a big deal here. And so the cedar provide solace from the oak wilt as well. And so anyways, without getting too further into it, just, think around the problem. What is it that you're trying to prevent from getting to your flock? And it doesn't have to be a building with no ventilation. Like, that to me is not the answer. If you're trying to keep snakes out, well, what type of snakes are a threat? If it's rattlesnakes, well, then you need something smaller than a rattlesnake head, right? So that way the rattlesnakes cannot get into your coop. Does that mean you have nothing? No. And I will say that chicken wire is not a good defense. That stuff is worthless. My dogs can tear that up. And if my dogs can tear that up and they're not even trying diligently to get food, then if I'm a fox and I'm starving, I'm going to be able to get into your coop, or whatever it is that you're trying to prevent animals from getting into. So anyways, think outside the box. If you need help thinking about it, or deciding what approach is a good approach, just let me know. Drop a comment, message me. My information is all over the place, so you can find it if you are trying to get in touch with me. I love you, my dearest confidant. Until next time.